listening to Movie Reviews and More with Brian Sebastian, only on LA Talk Radio.
Okay, this is Brian Sebastian. Here we are live, Movie Reviews and More around the world. And I like this fact. And all the way from the UK, I have to say this, and it's always off the top of my head, it's Clare Dubois. And I have to say that because I've been waiting for this for a long time, and I'm really excited. And I don't get excited. I have to say that, first of all.
Should I be worried?
No. You don't have to be worried at all. It's actually a really, really good thing. But before we get to everybody else, you know, someone's laughing over here. All right, go ahead. Pronounce your name for everybody, because I made you do it twice last week.
Yes, my name is Ruxanda. I'm an artist, singer, songwriter, ballroom dancer. You can find me on Instagram, ruxy.eu, and my website is ruxanda.com.
And I love how she says that. And she said it twice for me, which was good. All right, Claire, tell us why you're here.
How do I follow that? It's like that name, just sort of, you just want to roll it around your mouth.
That's why I had to say it twice.
Well, I'll try. So Clare Dubois. And I'll say
You have a great name, too.
I have the best name because, actually, my world is reforestation, and Clare Dubois actually means clarity of the woods.
See, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I married into that name without knowing that I was marrying into a name that would carry me for the rest of my life, which was extraordinary. So I actually have the name that is my work. My life's purpose is my name.
See, and that's also spiritual.
That is spookily spiritual.
And from Santa Barbara, and I've been actually really waiting for her. I'm really glad that she's here. Stair Cosmetics, Delane. You get to pronounce your last name, too. Yours
Delane
is great, too.
Mazaheri. Yes.
Okay, you get to say your name twice also.
Mazaheri.
See, and she has a soft voice. So the interesting thing about this show was Zoriana was going to be here. Zoriana Kit from Sea Shepherd, and she's out with Sea Shepherd on one of the ships in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, doing good things. That's where their main office is, so that's actually really, really good. But what they've been doing lately, they've been in Puerto Rico helping out on the catastrophe there, which is really, really good. And they've been giving things away. And speaking about that, I got to get to the sponsors first. Prevent Your Vodka is now in 35 states. They're in all Gelson's stores now around the country, which is really, really good. I'm glad for Paul Ribbon. We did the Maxim party this weekend, which really good. We had the girls painted up Prevent Your Vodka. Even two of the girls that didn't drink because they really, really looked good, and people like that a lot. So I want to thank Maxim for that also. And the bathroom kit, and I think you'll like this. I think you saw them Celebrity Connected.
Yes.
They've come out. I'm actually going to give 100 of these away to the people of Puerto Rico and Texas and Florida, because it is sanitary. And when you go to the restrooms and things like that, or stadiums, and you come out and there's nothing to wash your hands with or nothing to dry off with, you can use the bathroom kits, and they're actually really, really good. And you remember meeting them too, didn't you?
Yes,
Yeah,
of course.
Very, very nice people. I saw them at the very, very end, and I was honored. I went and talked to them. And what I like to do here at Movie Reviews and More, I like to find great products, and I like to help mom and pop businesses. The bigger people, yeah, that's nice. But it's really about people that really need to promote their product, and that's important to me for that. So, okay, Claire, let's start with you because you're from the UK. You came to Furthers. Talk about why you're here and what you have coming up, because you've been doing a lot of stuff since we last talked on the phone when you were in Northern California.
Well, I mean, it's amazing timing, actually, and we didn't know that the timing was going to be like this when we first spoke.
No, we didn't.
But we are, so Treesisters.org, that's my organization. We're a global women's network, basically looking to shift planetary consciousness, just a small thing, through helping women basically realize our true potential, helping women understand that we are so much more than we've been conditioned to believe, that we are a force of nature and that we can be a force of nature on behalf of nature. So as we know, our planet is struggling. As we know, the weather is going wacky, and we all know that this is because we are all pumping carbon dioxide into the atmosphere on a daily basis, and we're taking our mother for granted. And so one of the simplest things that we can do whilst we're figuring out how to wean ourselves off fossil fuels is to plant trees. And we plant in the tropics because it's a year-round growing season. The trees there grow faster, which means they are sucking up carbon faster. And also this is where so much of the extremes are happening, either in the tropical belt or in the Arctic areas. So there is great poverty there. There is great climate extremes of drought and then storms, huge deluges, the topsoil's being taken away, the species are dying at incredibly fast rates. Mm-hmm. And so we are currently, what a tree sister is, I should say, a tree sister is a woman who's making a stand for the trees, and she's doing it by reallocating funds every month because she understands that we can no longer continually take our mother for granted. We've got to give back. So we're all giving money every month to plant trees in the tropics, and collectively we are funding over like 1.2 million trees a year right now through Madagascar, Brazil, India, and where's the last place?
Amazon?
No. India, of course, India. God, how can I forget that? And we're just about to bring on 4 more projects, another one in India, another one in Madagascar, an amazing project in Cameroon where we're planting around the last 250 of the most endangered gorillas in Africa, and a project in Nepal. So we are right now starting our campaign to grow from 1 million trees a year to 1 billion trees a year, which is colossal and terrifying. And when you draw that on a graph, it makes you want to lie down and not get back up again. But it's the only scale that makes sense when you understand that we're losing 7 million hectares of forest every year. That's
and as we're doing that, we have fires all over the place now. So it makes sense. When you first said that, I'm like, wow, that's a huge goal. Now that I see everything that's going on with everything, it's a great goal.
It's the only goal that actually makes sense, and even beyond that, it'll be, okay, how do we get to 1 billion trees a month? Because, if you just take Madagascar, it's going to take 11 billion trees to reforest their estuaries in terms of just the mangroves, and that's not even looking at the highlands and the complete rape that's gone on, that's causing all their soil to flow into the sea.
Yeah.
But, the whole Rocky Mountain forest is going right now through disease and now fire and drought and climate change. We're losing trees faster than we know what to do with, and nobody seems to be really paying attention.
Well, I'm paying attention. One of the things I talked to, we have to say thank you for Lori Wallace, because, we have fun when I'm talking to her, keeping in track of all the stuff that you're doing, and then in general. I like the tagline, women seeding change. I think that's very, very important. It's prominent, and it does stick out because it can mean anything, but everything now is connected to everything. I think that's important. Talk about that.
Well, to me, I resisted doing this project. As you know, it was given to me in a car crash, and I was afraid to do anything that was just for women because my particular upbringing, I got hammered as a girl, and so it was always very clear to me that if you tried to stand up as a woman, you were going to get yanked down. But
right.
As I got out of my own way and recognized that actually our planetary imbalance is due to patriarchy, it's due to a system where it's not the masculine, because the masculine and the feminine are natural balances, but a masculine out of balance, when it becomes patriarchal, it means it's sitting on top of the feminine. It's decided that it's less, and that is what's happened across our planet for as long as we can remember. Certainly there have been matriarchal cultures in the past. But what that does is it means that we have seen our own evolution through our ability to dominate nature and dominate women. So women have been conditioned away from ourselves, and we've been taught to be a certain thing that really we're not. And we've lost touch with what nature is. And those, you just have to look to Standing Rock to see, and all the other Indian reservations around this country to notice that those people who are most nature connected, who are most reverent, who know how to live in a place for thousands of years and maintain it and protect it and keep it in its natural balance, are the ones who are getting the most abused and the most trashed. And actually, we were just at the Bioneers Conference this last week, and we held a ritual for the 4 or 5 nature protectors that are being killed every week. All around the world, the people who are actually standing up to say, we need this forest, we need these waters, this is sacred, they're being killed because they're getting in the way of short-term profit. Meanwhile, our planet's going off an edge.
One of the things when I met Delane at Celebrity Connected, I don't know if you remember this, I went up, because I'm always thinking of Treesisters, I'm always thinking of environmental issues now. It's something that's just kind of been attracted to the show now. I didn't do it on purpose, it's just kind of flowing that way. I asked about your cosmetics. Talk about how you started, first of all, and where the idea and everything came. Because one of the things I asked you is, 2 of the co-hosts, Kat Lopez, she's a vegan. So when it comes to cosmetics and makeup, that's, as you know, that's important now. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is, how good is certain cosmetics for the environment? And you answered the right questions, which is why I like your product. I'm not even a woman, and I like your product.
Well, we originally got the idea. We worked with an esthetician who was 24 years in the business, and she would get her client's skin looking really good. 3 weeks later, when they would come back, she would notice their skin was congested, and she'd say, are you following the program that I set you on? And they would say, yes, I'm following the program. She said, well, you're doing something different, or something's causing your congestion. Well, it turned out that they were putting on over-the-counter makeup that was full of fillers and stuff that your skin just doesn't need, and it doesn't agree with your skin. So what we've done is we've worked to pull everything that is not good out and keep everything in that makes a more beautiful you. And that's
May I ask what ingredients are those that are welcomed by the skin, and which ones are not good for the skin?
Well, I'm not a chemist, so I can't specifically answer those questions, but we've taken out parabens. We have, we're animal friendly. We don't test on animals. There's a host of other chemicals that I can't even say here. The SF, sulfur, all of that stuff. I can't think of the name. That's not my
it's okay.
It's just,
I am asking because each time when I buy a cosmetic product, I do look at the ingredients. And one of the skin persons that I dealt with, she always told me that when you see a lot of chemical terminology that is really long, that means it's not good.
That's not necessarily true. I mean, we can use aloe vera is a really long name if you use its Latin name.
But aloe vera, we all know it's natural.
But we don't say aloe vera.
I do say aloe vera. For instance, we do, because my background, I come from a Latin-based country, so all the Latin words we use in my language. So everything medically.
So you would know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I know when.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, so for instance, talc. Talc is a filler. Yeah. We have no talc in any of our face products. Putting talc on your face is not good.
Yeah.
We have talc in our eyeshadows because you want the product to lay on top of the skin.
Oh.
And our shadows last all day.
I see now.
So we formulate it. So while talc isn't always bad, you have to know where to use it.
Right.
So it's a process of education.
Okay. Regarding the lipstick, because I use so much makeup, I'm not gonna just put so many questions. The lipstick, usually I was told that has to be based on animal fat or natural oils, and I don't know what they use most of the time, because it has strong perfumes, and I know it's not very good for the skin.
No, we use vanilla.
Oh, nice.
So it's not, we don't use a strong perfume. What was the other question you asked?
And then do they use oils or?
Oh yes, we use essential oils.
Fat?
We don't use animal fat.
Yeah. I was wondering, because I was told that most of the lipstick is created by animal fat, and I was shocked.
You know, that hasn't been the case for a while, at least in my immediate genre. So we tend to have our product is more of a salon, higher end than you would get at a store. So
and she sent this to me last week, and the girls were interested last week about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a big. You didn't open it?
I wanted to surprise them.
Why he would open it? He doesn't put makeup on.
You know what? But I'm around enough women who do, so.
Exactly.
But it's about spreading that word, because the one thing she said, and I was thinking of you, Claire, was you said it was environmentally friendly. And that's one of the things that I really liked about that, and that was it. Plus, everybody loved the product, and I thought that was really good.
Right. That is good. That's great for us.
Yeah.
We love that. And
by friendly, I'm sorry. What do you mean by friendly for the environment? What?
Well, for one, we are, we don't test on animals, so that's environmentally friendly. We're working on other environmentally friendly packaging. We've if you could see our packaging. See, I bet you can read every ingredient in that one.
Okay, thank you. Oh, nice. That's
See,
beautiful.
in the packaging, what's one of the things I liked about was catching.
Yes.
And then the first thing I did is I went around and I asked all the girls, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? And they go, we like that booth over there, meaning yours. It wasn't only about the presentation. It was about that it was just, they were drawn to it. And I thought that was very important. I was looking at it from a different way. I'm like, okay, how does this help the environment, stuff like that? You know, that's what I'm kind of looking at, because I'm thinking of Treesisters, I'm thinking of Sea Shepherd, I'm thinking of all these things. And I'm like, okay, if they like that, then that's good. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, because it is a good product.
Right. Well, when you take most of the chemicals out that you don't need, then you're being friendly not only to the environment, but to your skin.
Right. And, you know, Claire, it kind of goes back to, again, whether you believe in climate control or not, it's happening. It doesn't matter. But it does affect our skin, our health, everything, right?
Well, it affects whether we've got a future or not.
That too. Very, very important. But, you know, so now it goes back to the basics of everything. We have to get back to kind of what you're talking about, what you know, what the ingredients are, because most people don't know, but they're starting to ask now. I think that's important.
Absolutely.
Right. Our product has no parabens. I don't know if you're familiar with parabens. Parabens were put in the product to stabilize the product. It takes out the bacteria, or it inhibits bacteria from growing, which you want actually in a makeup or a mascara, for instance, because you're touching it to your eye. So you don't want then for you to put it back in the tube and it grow bacteria. However, parabens are known to cause cancer. So everyone got upset about the parabens being in the formulation. So we took them out and used different
like essential oils, presumably. I mean,
well,
there are oils
vitamin
that are...
A is
there
one
are
of
substances,
them.
natural substances that are antibacterial. Antimicrobial.
Exactly. So that helps stabilize the product.
Talk about how it started. How did it start in Santa Barbara?
Well, as I mentioned before, we had worked with the esthetician, and she found that, working with people who have skin problems, they would exacerbate their problems by using over-the-counter type of cosmetics that didn't have ingredients that weren't good for their skin.
Right.
So we sat down one day and decided we were going to solve that problem.
And then the other thing I told you about is that I have uneven skin. I had eczema, and stuff like that. And the one thing I found out, if I'm doing a junket for a film or TV show, they hire the makeup person. What I did not know at that point was that makeup person might not have done dark skin. And then the next thing I asked you, what's it like for someone who has uneven dark skin, meaning me? And you answered a great question.
Right, we can handle that. We have a lot of different shades. We work with women and men of color. We work with very light shades and everything in the middle.
Yeah, and that got me, because this lady who put makeup on, she was supposed to be one of the best, and Warner Brothers hired her, but she did everybody's makeup. What I didn't know until the playback was my skin was shining here, here, and here. Once I saw it in the corner with the mirror, it was like, fine, but when I went underneath bright lights, it's like I was glowing. And it's too late at that point when you take the interview home and all of a sudden your face is glowing.
Right.
And I'm like, what's wrong with my face? I was like orange. And then the next time I saw her, I'm like, because someone said, oh, she just never done black skin before. I'm like, how do you know? Because I know. So I went back to ask her, and she goes, was I the first black face that you did? She goes, you were.
Oh my God.
I go, oh. So now I start to ask. So that's why I ask these questions.
Right.
Because no one told me.
Right. Well, there are black women, and they love to wear foundation and makeup just like everybody else. So we have all different colors.
Yeah.
And we have a
Interesting.
color to match you too, I'm sure.
No, I know you did. You even brought your kids. So the
Yeah.
next time you come back, I'm going to get
Yes.
I'll get all dolled up.
You're gonna
That'll be
get
quite
worked
funny.
over.
So
Yeah.
I welcome it. I don't care. I think it's good. Give you a website for people to check in on.
StareCosmetics.com.
Okay, Claire, give yours.
Treesisters.org. Tree as in green, leafy tree.
And you've been singing lately, and you like to wear a lot of cosmetics too. Yes.
Absolutely.
You take a
yes.
lot of photos, and people see a lot of your stuff, which is great.
Yeah. Lately, I've been working on this show that is going to be on the 30th of November at the Don Chante in downtown. And we're doing, it's not just a show. This event is meant to raise funds for the Puerto Rico damages and destructions in the hurricane. Besides that, I'm working on my record right now. Shows throughout the town, Sofitel, because you've mentioned about Sofitel Hotel. Sometimes I perform over there. And, of course, dancing. At the moment, currently, I'm in a group, in an Argentine tango group. We work on a project upon a theater show. And this show, what is unique about it, it's going to be a combination, basically, of acting and dance. But I don't want to talk more about it because I'm not the producer. I just wanted to mention about it. And my lifestyle is very healthy because that's why I'm a little bit obsessed when, you know, somebody talks about organic or healthy products or anything related to our bodies. Unfortunately, we live in a society where 90% of what we use and what we eat is dangerous. So each time when I, you know, step out, I have to wonder, like, what is this? What do I put in my mouth? What am I breathing? What am I putting on my skin? And it's tough. I'm a pescatarian. And for me, even though, you know, I don't eat meat, but even the other products, it's very difficult to know, you know, if they're 100% good for my body. And my skin, I have very sensitive skin. And I will definitely look more detailed into that package right there.
Good.
You made me curious. I had, you said that you had eczema. This is really rough. I had,
I used to break out here and here.
Oh my God.
I don't have any diseases. I don't have high blood pressure or any of that stuff. That's the only thing I ever had. And then, so I used to have to get underneath the sun lamp to get my color back.
Jesus.
And then when I moved to California, some of it was stress related. A lot of it was environmentally too, which we found out.
Well, mine was, I guess was stress related, just like yours. I had also a type of allergy that would come up when I would be in anxiety or before going on stage. I would always get them. Or if I would wear certain outfit or bracelets, accessories that they're very tight. So I would get those little things on my skin. And also some of the cosmetics would get me, you know, the rush on my skin too. So this is so important. But also it's how we eat. It's the things that we eat. If we eat, you know, obviously if you're going to eat a lot of prepared food, I mean, it's more preserved than natural based or organic or cooked, then of course we're going to have a lot of problems. I come from a background where 100%, I mean, when I was raised, my body is used to eat, if not 100%, but 95% organic. I come from Moldova. It's an agriculture country, so there are a lot of farmers there. And they would barely import anything because they produced everything there. And when I came to America, it was a huge change for my body. Like, I would get all kind of reactions, breakouts and allergies, and I was just not feeling well. After a while, I found out what is the best for my body, and, you know, it worked out eventually. But
we've come so far away from natural.
Yeah.
So far away from natural.
Oh,
and you
yeah.
look back to the 50s where, you know, they were taught away from natural. We were taught that it was cool to have the throwaway economy. We've been taught to throw away our planet, essentially. You know, when you sit down and you talk to the First Nations people and they talk about how they harvest, you know, you ask permission. If the plant doesn't give you permission, you don't harvest. If you do harvest, you take in a way that does as little harm as you can. You don't take everything. You give back. You give an offering. You say thank you. Whatever you harvest, you use all of it. You know, when I imagine,
which is what the Indians used to do.
Well, that's what they used to do.
Yep.
And when I sort of put myself in that mindset, when I imagine humanity coming from that place of reverence and actually looking to nature as a sacred continuum of which we are a fundamental part. We're not above it or below it. We're woven into this reality, this natural beingness that we all are. You know, if we could start to live reverently and see it as something not to dominate, but to cherish and be in relationship with, that we couldn't dream of just taking without giving back. You know, how would our world be? And that's what what's a weird thing that's happened to me in the last couple of weeks, because I've been banging on about trees for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years now, like obsessively, like this is my life, this is where I'm going. I cannot tolerate the idea of this many billion years of evolution and then humanity comes along and we screw it up with shopping. You know, it's like, that's not where we're going. That's just not. And our extinction rate right now is 1,000 times over pre-industrial levels. We're losing species every day.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And we're told that 2/3 of all life on this planet is going to be dead by 2020. That's round the corner. And we're sitting here going, yeah, I'm just going to carry on taking. And we can't. Like, we're standing at this amazing place where the weather and the politics and everything is going crazy, and humanity is not able to just sit back complacently and saying, oh yeah, our planet's run like this. Our planet can't be run like this anymore. Our planet isn't going to survive like this anymore. So we can't just sit and wait for the leaders to sort it out, because the leaders aren't sorting it out. The leaders are still sitting there in an old paradigm that doesn't recognize that our economy is based on an ecology that is running out, that is all to do with short-term wealth aggregation. It's nothing to do with reverence for each other or nature. It's not based on any form of relationship. It's based on dominance. It's based on power over. And can we and will we adjust to say, wow, how would it be if we created a new culture, wrote a new story for ourselves, evolved into a new identity that was actually based on restoration rather than consumption? And so that's what I keep banging on about. Can we shift from a consumer species, an unconscious consumer species, to a conscious restorer species? And I'm not damning us for being consumers, because we're always going to consume, but the Native Americans have taught me there is a way to consume that is conscious, that is reverent, that is respectful, that is honoring, that ensures that you don't wipe something out, you let it thrive. And I don't know how we do it, but I know that we have to, and I know that we get to. And actually, to me, it's the privilege of this time. You know, we can be immobilized in the face of climate change. We can just sit there with our mouths hanging open and then distract ourselves and go and do something else that has us not think about it. Or we can turn and face it fully and say, wow, okay, right now, this is what it's meant to be a human. That human phase of evolution, that's done. We're done. We're going to have to do it differently. I want to see ecological restoration embedded inside of every financial transaction. I want to see every business. You cannot take from the planet unless you are giving back, and you're going to give back in a way that takes care.
Some people are starting to do that now, especially in the entertainment. They're starting to do that.
It's starting to happen. It is starting to happen. But what I'm looking for inside of Treesisters is, where's the tipping point? Like, how do we normalize giving back? That's what I was told in the car crash when I was given Treesisters. And if that sounds odd, I'll just say, what was remarkable about the car crash that I had, it wasn't life-threatening. Well, it was actually. What was threatening about it was I was skidding on ice and I was heading for an edge. And if I'd gone over the edge, I may have died. But instead of going over an edge, I was stopped by a tree. So you can look at that as reforestation. Trees could stop humanity going over an edge. And it took me a while to look at that experience that I had and get the metaphor. But when I hit the tree, a voice started talking to me, and it gave me this message. And it's a really important message, so I want to share it. Well, first of all, there was a blinding flash of white light, 2 words in the light, the experiment, and that's inside the car. And then I heard, humanity is running out of time, but it's not over yet. It's going to take all of us rising to the challenge to get through what's coming. The single greatest threat facing humanity is fear of failure. But you can get over fear of failure by calling everything you do an experiment, because you can't fail an experiment. You can only learn, which I thought was amazing, even though I was wrapped around a tree. And I said, what's the experiment? And back came, you have to reforest the tropics within 10 years. And then a whole massive other spiel, which included, you have to make it as normal to give back to nature as it currently is to take nature for granted. Which is huge. That's what life was saying. Life was saying, we need a 180 here. We gotta shift from absolutely believing that somehow this many billion of us can just keep taking without any thought for consequence and wonder why the planet is going bonkers. And actually, what would it be like if somehow we could pass a tipping point where we weren't just thinking, how much money can I make out of this forest, this staggering ecosystem, which is actually producing our cooling and our, it scrubs the chemicals out of the atmosphere. They're producing our oxygen, they're producing our rain, they're producing so much biodiversity, but we call them standing timber. How are we going to move from a mindset where we stop monetizing every living thing and seeing what we can get out of it to line our pockets, and realize that's not what is sacred. What's sacred is our children and future generations, that we have a, what do we want our legacy to be? A world that is crazy, or a world that works?
With someone who's younger, what do you think of Treesisters? Did you know anything about it? Because it's always about youth. You have to educate everybody coming up.
Right. First of all, the whole concept and what you do is amazing. I never heard, because, she's relating this to women, to empower also women. This is amazing. After the movie Avatar, oh my God, I was so inspired by that movie. I literally went and hugged the tree.
There you go.
This is, okay, first of all, I love plants. In my apartment, I have plants. As busy I am, I'm very just like you ladies, because you know how it is with the hustle. I do have 4 plants, okay? I call them my babies. And they're the only live organisms that I have in my apartment. I was taught by my mother. She used to raise plants and little trees in my home when I was a kid. She had about 60 of them. And I always asked her, why so many? It's so much work. Like, you have to work so hard. And she says, these are like beings. They are giving us life. You love them. They love you back. They give you the oxygen. They give you the health that you need. So she would always talk to them. And, I was inspired by that love towards nature from her. And I know the importance of the trees and the nature and flowers, plants, everything that surrounds us, that it's related to the nature. It's amazing. And it's really sad how it's gotten. People don't appreciate it. As a matter of fact, they just destroy it.
Claire, I was going to ask you, did you know about the tree that was saved during 9/11? But it doesn't have a name. Did you know about that?
Yes.
That's the short documentary?
Yes.
And then there's another one on PBS, too, about why we need the trees, which I thought was quite interesting. I saw them back to back, and I thought it was really, really good.
One of the things that people do, there's a lot of stuff that people do, and I discovered some stuff this week that I never knew. One is that, I'm going to get the science all wrong here, but basically trees and humans have almost identical DNA.
Yes, they do.
Apart from 2 something or others, and I don't know what those something or others are, but they're small something or others, and actually we're kin. Like,
That's
we're seriously kin.
unbelievable.
And another thing I didn't know was that, so any combustion creates a particular type of particulate that is extremely bad for us. A 2.5 micron particle will get into the body, will carry all sorts of other heavy metals, will do all sorts of damage. And so all of our engines, combustion engines, anything that's powered that way, will be pumping out basically serious poison for us.
Wow.
For our skin and for our lungs and for causing cancers and all the rest of it. I didn't realize that trees actually comb it out of the air. Like they act as combs, and they draw it down into the ground, and then bacteria deals with it. So we think about them as, they produce our oxygen. But the thing I didn't know until a couple of years ago was the Amazon rainforest is the size of the face of the moon. And the act of transpiration, when photosynthesis, how they're releasing water vapor as a process of photosynthesis, and that water is released in the heat, and then it cools and it comes down as rain, and it's sucked back up, and it goes back up, and it comes back down. And you can actually see on charts, I've actually watched this colossal pulsing of energy and water and heat, which is like a heartbeat. And then it sends this water up after about, I don't know how many rounds, it sends this water up. And there are things called flying rivers. And these flying rivers, the flying rivers that are leaving the Amazon airborne, hold more water per day than the Amazon River itself. That is then funneled all across the planet and becomes rainfall. And that is relying on the Amazon rainforest staying the size that it is and being able to do what it needs to do because it's healthy. And of course, we're degrading it, and they're starting to lose. It's like having arrhythmia at the hydrological level, where the pulses are starting to fail, and when that happens, the rivers fail, and you've got areas of Brazil that are suffering from colossal drought, so much so that they're having to stop thinking about coffee farming and going towards other farming because they don't know what to do because of lack of water, not realizing that, we're not acting as if all things are connected, that the whole world, whether it's ice or trees or coral or sea or rivers or, wolves or mangroves, that everything is impacting everything, and that Gaia or our mother or our planet or Earth or whatever you want to call her has had this extraordinarily complex, beautifully balanced ecosystem where everything is in relationship with everything. And we're kind of wandering in there with bludgeons and hacksaws and bombs and God knows what else, and thinking that we can destroy everything, and we're not tipping it out of balance.
Well, with that, Delane, I think your product is, like I said, I believe it's environmentally friendly. I like it because I think it's kind of what you were just saying. And when I'm looking for certain things like that, I am thinking about all these aspects. Do the girls like it? Would they use it? Is it good for you? And your product is good for you. And the challenge is, it's like even when I have a couple events coming up. I know Halle Berry is really into safety things and using the right products. I believe she would like this. I'm going to see her November 2nd, so I'll keep you abreast to that.
Great.
You know, and if I can get you there, and I'm sure I already know because that's my event, I'll have you come.
Okay.
But talk about why you want to get this into certain people's hands. Why is it important? Because I know why.
Well, the reason why is because we want to bring out the most beautiful you can be. And by putting on products that are good for your skin, you bring out the most beautiful you.
Okay, there you go. And being from Santa Barbara, I love Santa Barbara Film Festival, so I like going up there.
Yes.
So when I'm going to be going
place.
up there pretty soon. See how she started to smile? I like that. That's pretty good.
It's my hometown.
Well, how's it doing around the area? Where can people get it?
Starecosmetics.com.
Okay, everything's online.
Everything's online right now. Yes, we're in the middle of selecting different salons to carry it.
All right, so when you were growing up as a little girl, what was one of your favorite films?
You know, I always
This
liked...
is Movie Reviews and More afterwards, so...
the one that comes to mind most is Jagged Edge. I don't know if you guys know
Really?
this one. It's the one with Glenn Close
Yeah,
and
that was an excellent
Jeff
film.
Bridges. You know, I loved the twist at the end. I wasn't expecting it. So it was great. I loved it. But I like those kind of movies. I like the Pelican Brief and things that are...
More suspense thrillers, yes.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
good.
I don't like to cry a lot at movies.
That's pretty mature as a child. Put me in
Claire?
front of the Pelican Brief as a child, I'd be like, what's going on?
I wasn't such a child then, I guess.
Claire, when you were growing up, anything? Because you don't get a chance to see a lot of things, obviously.
I don't do, it's all work these days, but actually no, it's soul work these days. No, when I was growing up, I would have to say I couldn't get past The Sound of Music. And I would watch it at least 2 or 3 times a year, and I know every song from that piece. And, you know, it was amazing. It was about being thrown out into the unknown, and I think I was just totally inspired by Maria. Like she was this cup half full. Like she would face absolutely everything with a song and with love, and she did her best, and she won the man. You know, she won him round, and she, you know, and I sang as a child. Like I sang and sang. My mother was actually an opera singer, and she was a choir mistress, sorry. And so I was singing 3-part harmonies aged like 3 with my mother, and so like all the part harmonies in that was how I grew up. I grew up in
Are you singing in the trees?
Music. I sing in the trees. Yes,
Of course you do. You got to sing for us?
No. Surprisingly, but I'm sitting next to a songbird.
Well, yeah, she has no problem. And you were talking about movies last week because she was in Europe for a while, so I wanted to see what was going on with her.
Okay. Well, lately I didn't really have the time to watch any movies, but the movie of my childhood I really liked The Bodyguard. I would watch that movie over and over again. I would never get tired of it. Well, because I was inspired by all these artists. My mom used to bring cassettes of Michael Jackson, Mariah Carey in the house, Whitney Houston. And then when I first saw the movie about her, I was like, oh my God, I fell in love. And a cartoon that I used to watch quite a bit. And I watched, I think, for 10 years in a row. I'm not kidding. And I would watch it again, have no problem. Lion King.
Oh.
That was the most inspirational movie movie cartoon. It's like a movie, but it has so much.
But it has a great story to it.
Amazing.
Again, it goes back to Claire, what you were saying about the environment and taking care of everything.
Well, and taking care of
Yeah.
each other. You know, the characters in that. It's love-based. You know,
Yes.
it's love will conquer all, just in another way. It's having courage, stepping into your power. It's becoming the king. You know, it's like,
Absolutely. But not only that, my dad used to watch it with us, and I would ask him, why do you keep watching it with us? This is so strange. And he says, you don't understand, but this movie has lessons for different age categories.
yeah.
So he found it very interesting for himself too. And I understand why now. I watch it now, and I understand where he was coming from. That was very, very inspirational.
You know, there's one movie I've seen just recently that had rocked
I knew
my
there was
world.
something you saw.
That was Hidden Figures.
People say, "Oh, I don't have time to see a movie," but I did see this one.
I did see this one. I saw Hidden Figures, and I got to the
Oh,
end
what
of,
an excellent film!
I got to the end of that film, and I was just like, oh my God. My first thought was, I have to sit down and watch that again, but it was really late. I'm British. I'm white. I come from a white world.
the human computers.
I was not, I didn't grow up in America. I didn't grow up with everything that was going on here. I was largely ignorant, in all honesty. I could not believe what I was seeing. I couldn't believe what they went through. I couldn't believe how they were treated. I was like, but what they achieved through that, you know.
Yeah.
Right now, we're Treesisters, as I say, we're starting our Billion Trees campaign. And as part of that, we are doing a thing called Wild Hope for Humanity this week, which is a set of interviews with extraordinary women, because
That's good.
I really find, like, you know, it's very easy to get depressed, it's very easy to get frightened, it's very easy to get stuck, and sometimes I just need a really good dose of someone phenomenally inspirational who is just doing something extraordinary against all odds. And I think, God, if they can do it, I can do it. And
Exactly.
And there's
That's
a
the
woman.
reason why I go to movies. That's why I love
Yeah.
documentaries, to be inspired. And when I need to get away, because this is what I'm supposed to be doing anyhow, Hidden Figures,
Hidden
things like
Figures.
that.
And so women who are rising...
Delane, have you seen Hidden Figures yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you have to
Oh,
see
you
Me
have to
too,
see
I
that.
You
It's
haven't
very,
seen
very
Sound of
good.
Music either. You got some education, girl.
You gotta catch up.
the two at the same time might be a bit of a yeah, but do it with some really good popcorn. Yeah, so you know, I've been interviewing these extraordinary women, and there's a lady that is coming up on Thursday, Sister Zef. This is a Pakistani woman who decided she was basically going to stop being beaten up by her family and people aged 13. Who lives in a world where women belong to men, who live in a world where if you walk down the street and you talk to a man that your father or brother doesn't like you, they can kill you and call it an honor killing.
That's right.
Oh my god.
And so
That's
we
a
live,
movie called The Stoning of Sahanya.
so we live in this completely privileged world where we don't realize the privilege we have, so when I interview someone like Sister Zef, and we get to hear the story of this outrageous courage, this girl sitting there saying, I don't care, if I have multiple lifetimes, if you kill me tomorrow, I will come back and I will continue to do this. Like, hearing these women who just, against all odds, there's women in NASA, against all odds, they just stuck it out and stuck it out and stuck it out and brought their brilliance and brought their brilliance. And to me, there's a kind of an alchemy, like a soul alchemy that happens when the world is persecuting you and persecuting you and persecuting you and can't see you and doesn't appreciate you and doesn't cherish you and treats you like shit, and still you stand with absolute nobility. Absolute nobility. There is a quality of presence and beauty in someone that does that, and that's what I saw in that film, and it rocked my world. I just thought it was completely extraordinary. So I just want to do a shameless plug right now for Wild Hope for Humanity, because these women are
I was going to ask you about humanity, just that
extraordinary.
word.
Yeah, well, Wild Hope as well. Like, who actually are we? What is really beautiful inside us, and how can we bring it forward to inspire each other and lead each other? And you know, if I can do this, you can do this. How can we be what I call walking permission for each other?
And Delane, that's what you did. You know, it couldn't have been easy to start this for you, and it's all about being that strong, determined woman. That's how I see it, at least.
Right. Well, there was 3 of us who conceived the ideas, all women, and you know, we're seeing it through to fruition. So
Yeah. Was it hard to go raise money for this? I mean, because everybody wants to start something, but everybody doesn't see it through.
it's always hard.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's hard still, you know, to figure out where you're going to put your money, where's the best case. You know, we've gone into researching ingredients, we've packaging, just every single step of the way, down to the little tags you put on the bags. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of research and where you're going to put your money, marketing seems to be the next step. So,
well, you have it, and I like it. So that's good, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on here. And I know it's not easy to do that, so I like to spread the word on things like that. Give your website again.
starecosmetics.com.
Okay. Give yours again.
Well, the one I want to give right now actually is...
I knew there was another one.
Well, it's billiontrees.me. I mean, I want everybody to become a tree sister because I will basically go around for the rest of my life saying, are you giving money for trees? If not, why not? You know, come on, let's do this together. So treesisters.org is where you will find out about the organization. But actually, right now, you have an opportunity to do something extraordinary with us. We're doing something that's never been done before. We're not just saying, come on this campaign journey and don't just give money for trees. We are asking for that. But we're actually saying, if we want external transformation in this world, that has to be rooted in internal transformation. Like, our world is a reflection of us. If it's out of balance, it's because we're out of balance. So we're offering a 6-week, very beautiful journey around the sacred geometry of our own beingnesses that will roll out starting next week. And each week is called Reveal, then Embrace, then Embody, then Activate, then Shine, and Belong. And in each of those weeks, there's going to be a Facebook Live. There's going to be a global meditation where we're literally doing consciousness acupuncture together.
Wow.
And there's going to be a teaching with an extraordinary female leader of our times. And it's all there at billiontrees.me. And I'll say it again.
How do you like that?
Billiontrees.me.
I love this.
Oh,
Doesn't that sound fun?
I love
Hey, it's all about getting
when
you.
she says it. She's just like, I love it.
No, it's all about getting you to come in. I mean, again, what you just said, I was thinking of your product. I'm gonna, the next time you come back, I'm gonna try it on the TV side of stuff. But I see what you're saying, and it just relates to me back to Stare, for whatever reason. Final words. What do you want to say? What would get people to go online to buy this product?
Well, if somebody wants better skin, improve their skin, and still look good, this is the product for you.
Okay.
Yeah, simply said and true.
Yeah. Last time, website again. You can never give it too many times.
starecosmetics.com.
And just, it's STARE. It's not
Stare like
STAIR. It's stare at
like
me.
I'm looking at you.
Yeah, so that
Like,
really...
look at me.
that
Stare.
matters.
STARE.
Yeah. Look at me, I'm beautiful. And
That's
look how
right.
healthy my skin is.
Dare to stare.
Claire,
Yes.
last final words for you.
It feels really, really amazing when you stop looking away from the tsunami of climate change and you turn around and you face it, because knowledge is power, and there is a way that we can move forward together, and it looks like huge action, and it looks like understanding that this is a privilege to be alive right now, and it looks like recognizing that if we don't do something, we're screwing it up for all future generations. And so we get a chance to live the most meaningful lives any generation has ever lived. It's up to us. I mean, it really is up to us. And we have within us the capacity to do this because we are nature. Nature does not want to destroy itself. We just have to wake up to the miracles that we are.
Yeah, but we don't have trees. We don't have underwater. We don't have bees. I mean, we don't exist.
No.
Plain and simple.
Exactly.
Yeah. We can't just listen to, 80% of the coral is gone. 80% of the forests of the world are gone. It's like we can't just listen to statistics and go goggle-eyed and then say, put the telly on. We've got to go, okay, the leadership in this country isn't working, therefore I need to be a leader. So my invitation is become a restorer. Discover what it feels like to bring ecological restoration into your life as a new norm. And help Tree Sisters actually do something planet-changing. We can change the face of our planet. We can. When 2 million of us are giving $20 a month, we'll be planting 1 billion trees a year. That will change the face of the planet. That is not much to ask. If you give $100 a month, then you are planting 3,000 trees a year. That's a forest. Grow a forest every year because you can, and feel amazing doing it.
Where are you going to be this weekend? Are you singing? Are you teaching?
I'm going to sing. I'm going to rehearse. This weekend, I don't have any special events coming up.
You always got something coming up. You call me at 2 or 3 in the morning.
You can just stand in front of a group of people and tell them your name over and over again.
Exactly.
And they'll just like roll around on the floor groaning.
I have a few network events going on at the W Hotel.
Good.
That's on Sunday. On Friday, I'm going to be at the Lucky Strike live in Hollywood.
Are you singing?
Yes, I'm going to sing.
Okay.
But other than that, I'm rehearsing. I'm in the studio working on the songs. And we're, in the heavy process right now. If you want to follow me on my events coming up, you can find me on Facebook as Ruxanda, RUXANDA. My Instagram is rux.eu, as Europe, EU.
And I'm Brian Sebastian. This is Movie Reviews and More. I want to thank everybody for being here because it was important that both of you be here. Even Ruxanda coming. I can't say it like she says it because they got that sexiness roll off the tongue. But, you know, I thought it was very, very important to have you both here. And then thank you so much for what you both bring because I feel it still is connected. You have a great product there, and I'm going to do everything I can. And you already know what's going on with that, so I'm going to champion that anyhow. So this is Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More. If you see someone out of smile, please give them one of yours. And go on www.youtube.com. You'll be able to see this show /Movie Reviews, the letter and more. Movie Reviews and More. And we'll see you next week.
You're listening to Movie Reviews and More with Brian Sebastian, only on LA Talk Radio.